Yep.
I did go to it.
Well, let's get into it, man.
Let's get into it then. Look, welcome to another. What was the name of it?
Oh my God.
Too many podcasts.
Running too many
Welcome to
podcasts.
just another podcast and the bonus.
Nah.
Just another bonus.
All right, y'all ready?
That's not the bonus in the podcast.
All right, let's go. All right, welcome to In the Bonus Podcast. We are excited to be back with you guys for another episode. Today we're going to switch it up. We're going to get away from the stats a little bit and talk about a topic that's a little bit more near and dear to our hearts. And so with February being Black History Month, we kind of want to dive into some different topics, right? And so before we get into that, how y'all fellas been?
Man, it's been all right. It's been a good weekend for me. It was cool. It was chill. Just hung out, man. Handled some stuff on the side. What about you guys?
My weekend was fine, man. Just sitting in the house, chilling with the family. Not much going on for me. What about you, Trey?
I was cooling, man. I ain't do much. Yeah, just cleaned up. Nothing really. Bought a few things, but chilling, man.
Didn't
Good
you do
weekend.
disc golf?
No, I didn't need disc golf this weekend. No.
I hooped this weekend. First time in a while. It was pretty dope. Had some good runs out there. Everything was straight.
Where'd you hoop at?
I hooped in Fort Bragg on post.
At Funk Gym?
Pope.
On Pope.
Hercules jump.
Yeah.
Bet. So today we did want to talk about some more historic elements of the sport. As we all know, HBCUs, which are historically Black colleges or universities, definitely play a big role in the lives of many Black athletes who decide to play basketball, football, any sport at the collegiate level. And so I kind of wanted to start there, right? And so when we think about historically Black colleges and universities, we know that most of these schools were started back before the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and really provided opportunities for people of color to really get an opportunity to get an education. And I know for some of us, as you see me representing North Carolina Central University, is where I went to undergrad. So what are you guys' general thoughts? I know some of us have varying thoughts. What are you guys' thoughts about HBCUs and kind of their role in education currently?
First thing I want to say is Eagle Pride.
Eagle Pride. Amplified.
E-Funk. E-Funk.
It's somebody else up here that's an Eagle.
Come on, Dominique. You got to E-Funk. You
I
supposed
don't
to
remember
say.
none of that stuff, man. I was only there for a year, man.
You
None of that.
I love HBCUs. I love the immersion of Black culture and being around people who look like me and come from similar backgrounds. I love that there is a focus on how to navigate the professional world coming from the backgrounds that we come from. I'm gonna stop there and let somebody else pick up.
You can go, Trey.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say, like, looking at it from, strictly like a historical standpoint, just, the reason that they were invented, back then, before the Civil Rights Acts, all that, like us African Americans having a place to, continue studying and get degrees and be able to be in those places that, we couldn't be in, or it was segregated, anything back then. You know what I'm saying?
So me personally, I was only at North Carolina Central for a year. Now that I look at it, I'm older. The reasons I thought I didn't like North Carolina Central was just because I wasn't making the best of the situation. But being at HBCU was pretty dope. Being around my own kind, I mean, it was dope to be.
What you mean when you was like you ain't make the best of your situation?
So me personally, I felt like my situation, as far as like, it could be something as simple as like a roommate. Like my environment being in Baines, it wasn't the best place to stay at. So that's how I kind of made my whole opinion of HBCU being where I stayed at. So I mean, I wasn't happy with that, but like looking at it, you know what I'm saying? Now I think being essential was actually dope, but I just took a different route, went to the Army.
So you feel like, do you think that it was strictly like the roommate situation, or like you personally not taking advantage of what you thought the school had to offer? Like you think it would have been different if you was at a PWI?
Looking at it now, I don't think it'd be this. It probably would have been the same. Like, I mean, I felt like I was a little bit more mature than most people at that age. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I feel like my mind was on getting a degree. A lot of people, when they first get to college, they were just focusing on like partying,
Facts,
girls,
bro.
things like that.
Facts.
I was locked in on getting my degree. I mean, y'all know I was working when I was in college, so I was really
Yeah.
locked in. So I think just how I feel about HBCUs has changed since I've grown a little bit older, looking at the whole situation.
Just for clarification, for those who may not know, HBCU stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities, and PWI stands for Predominantly White Institutions. So a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, and then just kind of go into it, because I'm gonna be honest with you guys. We kind of know each other's stories, but I know when I decided to go to Central, it had nothing to do with it being a black school, right?
Right. Mhm.
And so I'm actually, this is gonna be fun because I'm about to tell y'all something that
We
I don't know if
getting
I
into
should tell y'all this
reasons.
on the podcast.
Nah, go
But
ahead.
I remember,
bro.
I
No
remember us
names.
traveling.
No name.
No, bro, when I tell this story. But I remember us traveling to Durham. I don't know if you guys remember this.
Definitely remember that.
We were looking to get extra credit for senior course.
Mhm.
We're going to visit a museum,
With Miss
and
Harvey.
it's funny because we didn't quite make it, right? So the museum closed before we got there, y'all. So you got to think, as kids driving from where we're from, Rocky Mount, North Carolina, to Durham was like a journey.
It was an event.
So shout out to Dominique. Dominique was driving. I think
Designated
we
driver.
almost crashed
Yeah.
watching a movie.
I saved everyone.
You almost killed some people a
Hey,
few
man, make
times,
sure
but
you
that's
mention
another
it.
story.
We almost
We ain't
crashed in
talking
the,
about that.
in the
Like-
94 Grand Marquis. Make sure y'all mention that. You know what I'm saying? The 94
And it was
Took us
candy
a lot of
painted
places.
purple.
Yeah.
Purple
No.
too.
Took
Yeah.
us a lot of places, man.
Bro, I'm
I ain't gonna
surprised we
lie.
never got pulled over. You ever? This is completely off topic, but you ever got pulled over in while it was purple?
I mean,
Dominique?
this goes with the whole conversation about Black history. Man, I definitely got pulled over twice in Nick neighborhood. Within
He
2
did.
days.
Yeah, bro, your
Dang, I
car.
forgot about that. He did.
It looked like a trap car though, bro.
He
Yeah,
looked like he
definitely
was
I
selling
people
dope.
I had people pull up next to me, say, "You got that gas?" I said, "I don't do that, brother."
Y'all, if y'all want to paint a picture of what he had, imagine a Grand Marquis with some big old rims on it and candy painted purple.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, that
it
was the
looked like
vibe
a
back in
dope
the
boy
day, though.
car.
I mean, that was the vibe back in the day.
That boy would
It
never have to
was.
worry about a flood.
Cool, go ahead, finish your story.
Please.
Right. Everybody all off track. So we in the car. We go all the way to Durham. I'm not gonna say no names, but somewhere along the trip between us leaving and dying, someone realized
I think cool.
this to this day.
Cool
But
signal.
we, long
Hold up,
story
hold up.
short,
Hold up, cool. Your
Restart.
signal.
Do it again. You said somewhere we realized.
yeah. So can you guys hear me better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so somewhere between leaving Rocky Mount and getting to the museum, someone realizes we may not make it, right? Now, mind you, we don't went all this way, so we got to go. So we like, yo, I think they might close early today. It's the weekend. So we pull up, we get there about 5 minutes after they close. Mind you, everybody's doing great in this class. You know, it was a senior seminar course. And so we ended up not getting the extra credit, not being able to get into the museum. And so we drive around Durham, North Carolina, and we see Central. And the funny thing about it is originally I was like, bro, I definitely want to come here.
I think we all said that when we was driving by.
Man, we just left Duke campus. We looking at Central. Dumbo, like, man, my cousin go here though. Trey, like, my mom used to go here, but I'm good.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, 4 out of 5 of us ended up going. And so kind of what went into your decision making? Because I know personally I didn't go because it was a HBCU. I think that's one of the benefits that I got out of it afterwards. But what was kind of some of the things that pushed you guys towards Central?
But my situation, I had family ties. Like you said, my cousin went there. My cousin's mother went there. So I got family ties there. And then actually a PWI, the only school I really, really wanted to go to didn't even accept me. I wanted to go to UNCG. That's the only school that did not accept me to go to their college. So Central was second on my list. So that's where I went.
I'll go last because I think I have a long story. So,
and I know Larry, you went to Livingstone.
Yeah, Larry went to Livingstone.
Y'all all know, people who don't know me, I hated school with a passion. I won't think about no type of education, you know. But we grow, don't we? Yeah, all that.
Yeah.
But but I was the only reason I was even interested in going to any type of university was to hoop. Simply just to hoop. Should my mind been on the education more? Yes, definitely should have. But I barely made it out of high school. We talking about college, but I wouldn't. I started at Livingstone. I was a blueberry. All these Eagles in here. I don't care about
Blueberry.
But I didn't even go for a while. I went for a little while, and then I just stopped going. Wasn't feeling it. Coaches sold me a lemon. Didn't like it. I was gonna try to switch schools, but I was like, yeah, I'm done. Then I pulled an old Dominique over here and Nick and joined the army.
Mm-hmm.
Still in to this day.
Yeah, so let's get y'all answers towards that. What, unless you wanted to answer that before we continue, Trey, but I wanted to say, I know you guys went into the army. What kind of went into your decision to pivot from college to the army?
Get away from home. Go see something new. Army has vast opportunities out there. Taking advantage of all of them.
So me personally, I began to look at those student loans I was getting. And then I realized that going into the reserves, because that was the route I was taking originally. Going to the reserve, they'll pay for my college, and it'll already have me a career once I finished my education. So that was my thought process in it. I was going to just do that and have my loans paid off. I mean, that was the way I was going to do things. But then I eventually was like, I'll forget that. I'll just go active duty and go ahead and start my career and get my education while I was in, like I did. Now I have my master's, I have my bachelor's and master's. So
I wasn't even in long enough to even accumulate any student loans.
You know that.
What's your story, Nick? Why you join?
I guess I got to start with why I went to Central, and then I'll go military. So I went to Central. I wasn't even on my radar. We all had, because the school that we went to, we had to apply to a college. We had to get accepted to any college. It didn't matter. It could have been a community college. So Central was on my list, but there was a school called Oakwood University down in Birmingham, Alabama, because I grew up Seventh-day Adventist, and it's one of the schools. I was dating this girl. She's gonna remain nameless.
Make up a fake
Kate.
We're gonna call her Kate.
Yeah, He just dropping the breadcrumbs. um, I thought I was well. I was just so in love with this girl, you
Okay.
know, and she was going to Oakwood, but then I was like, oh well, I think I want to be a lawyer. And I was like, well, they don't really have a legal or a law program down there. But not look, someone was like, oh, Central's got like a new law school that's just been built. They got a great law program. It's like a really great value. And I was like, oh man, I never even thought about going to Central. I would still be in North Carolina and pay in-state, payments, and I would not be too close, too far from home, but far enough to get away from home. Because I grew up in a mad strict household. So, I brought that to her attention, and then, she was just like, oh, well, then we just gonna set a date to break up. And I was like, me being
Dang.
emotional about it, I was like, well, bump it, I'm just gonna go. Went to Central. I went there for a year, my freshman year, and I cut loose. I was like one of them freshmen that you saw that year, and then the next year you're like, dang, who was that dude again? What was his name? But I was there for a year, and yeah, I really cut loose. A couple of times the guys pulled me to the side and was like, man, what is going on? But I was gonna do my own thing. Um, but I poo-pooed away my second semester. First semester A's and B's. Second semesters, uh, like D's, F's. And I was like, you know what? I can't be in here just wasting my time and just racking up money. So then I was like, you know what? My mother went to the army. My dad was in the army. My sister, my uncles, my aunts. I was like, you know what? We've made a business about going to the government. So I was like, I'm just gonna go to the army and go reserves, and they're gonna pay for my school. So that's what drove my decision to go to the army.
What
All right.
what did everybody major in school?
Well,
So,
you go ahead.
I have my bachelor's in criminal justice. Then I have my master's in IT.
I got my psychology degree that I used for 2 months, and that's it.
What you got, Nick?
I have a degree. I just got my degree on December 5th, 2020. Took me 10 years to get it, but I got it.
Hey,
And
10 years don't
business marketing. That's what I got mine in.
Yeah, so I got my degree in pharmaceutical sciences, and then I ended up getting my doctorate of pharmacy later from Chapel Hill. Um, but I think it's an interesting dynamic because a lot of you listening, whether you're our age or even if you're younger, especially as Black men in America, you kind of get to that crossroad where you have to make a decision. Am I going to go into the workforce? Am I going to go to college? Or am I going to go to the military? Right. And so I think all of us had a very unique path on which direction we chose. But I think you three main options, right? And if you're not an athlete, college may not have the same opportunities for everybody, right? And so I think North Carolina, especially with such a rich history, we have, I think it's 12 HBCUs. We have Shaw University, Bennett, Livingstone. We have Johnson C. Smith, St. Aug, Elizabeth City State, Winston-Salem State, North Carolina Central University, North Carolina A&T. And so North Carolina is definitely a hub for sure. I don't know if we have the most out of any other state, but we definitely have a huge population of HBCUs. Um, and do you guys in general, do you guys remember, I guess, HBCU influence before graduating? Like, did you have any teachers that went to HBCUs, or did you ever hear about HBCUs in curriculum as far as schooling or anything like?
Um, I remember there being some of our teachers who went to HBCUs, but I don't remember them talking so heavy about it. I think we heard more about them being in like sororities and fraternities than we did about the school that they went to. Where did Miss Bunton go? Didn't she go? Did she go to Central?
Thought she went to state.
She went to NC. She went to NC State. So
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like I didn't really get my first dose of HBCU until we went on that trip to Morehouse. Do you guys remember that trip?
I remember.
And I never went, but I remember you guys going.
yeah, I remember y'all went. Yeah.
Maybe was it?
It was just
me
you and
that
it
went?
was
was
just
just
Trey
y'all
and Cool.
Cause y'all
Oh,
went to the
yeah,
y'all
we
went with
went-
the class prior to us.
Yeah, we
That's
went
right.
with Deepberry and them. Remember? Cool. Yeah.
They
feel
loved
like-
y'all.
I don't like, as far as like the influence, like just hearing about HBCUs. I think the only time I would hear, like, it may sound bad, but it would be like for like band, like great
Mhm.
musical bands, and then just like culture stuff. Like you'll hear like this influencer went, this actor went, and that's pretty much it.
So I think our experience was a little different because we didn't go to a public school. I think we would have went to a public school. It may have been pushed on us a lot more. So that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, and I feel like I appreciated like afterward. Like, I didn't get into it earlier about like Central, but being there and experiencing the culture, I ain't get appreciation for it until afterward. And although it didn't like dictate my decision beforehand to go, I realized like the high school we were in, it wasn't a lot of like black culture. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty much us that was providing that. And going to Central and going to a HBCU, it was not a culture shock, but it's like, this is what I was missing. You know what I'm saying? This is why I didn't get in high school.
Do you guys remember? I remember there was a few schools who like really had culture. I can remember Weldon. I can remember Winston-Salem Prep.
Mm.
I mean, I guess because they were so close to Winston-Salem State,
Mm.
their culture was different. I remember like the cheerleaders used to sing like a choir. I remember like their style of cheerleading was different. And I remember one school had a band like during the
Yeah.
basketball
That
game.
was
That
Weldon.
was
That was
crazy.
Weldon.
Well,
Yeah, that was Weldon.
Yeah. So
Our
I think
school was
just
broke.
That
Go ahead,
Golden
Nick.
Girl
Our
and that
school-
one school in Greenville.
I think it's because our high school didn't. I don't think it had all the necessary tools as a lot of the other schools for us to have like that full experience. It was a budding school. The school hadn't been open, but what, like 10, 15 years, something
Your
like
school
that.
was created in 2000, if I'm not mistaken, or like
Yeah,
97, something like that.
yeah.
I
so
feel
it
like
had-
I feel like their goals were just different too. Like they needed
Mhm.
all of us to get into college to remain getting the funding that they needed, I guess.
Yeah,
Like their numbers had to be a certain
Mhm.
way. So they like the extracurricular stuff was just extra. Like they didn't care either way.
we had no music program. The art program was like what?
Because
Like
when did the
30
music program start? Like kind of right when we graduated? Like
Yeah,
when did because Jolly took over, right?
Yeah.
Jolly was playing keyboard and coaching at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
at halftime.
He did. I forgot they used to have the piano in the gym in the corner.
We.
Yeah.
That's
Shout out to
right.
Jolly Manning, yo.
Yeah.
So
Jay Hood.
so
Jay
I
Hood.
know for a lot of athletes, right? So because that was the only place people would go for so long, that was kind of the avenue to get to the next level, right? And so, of course, as time has changed and progressed, there are a lot of opportunities for top athletes from our communities to play at these bigger schools, these D1 schools. And so there's a lot of debate on how much revenue, especially that sports in general bring into universities, right? And so if you think about the bigger schools, even schools like Duke, I think Coach K makes like $11 million a year just from his basketball salary alone. That's not
It's crazy.
Olympics. That's not, I don't even know if he teaches at all. And so these guys are bringing in a lot of money to these schools. And so there's a lot of debate about whether we should be sending our top talented um, athletes to HBCUs to give back to the community. And then if we were to do something like that, would they still have the same opportunities to make it to the next level? And so, what are you guys' thoughts? I know it's been a trending topic for a long time, with big names trying to push towards going to HBCUs. What are you guys' general thoughts on that?
Well, let me put it in perspective for y'all real quick. I got a fun fact, cool, to bounce off what you were saying. You're talking about like Duke and Coach K, but this from NCAA too, right? This was reported last year. This for 2019 for all schools, all 1,100 colleges from D1 to D3. So it don't even matter the division. All three divisions, they made 18.8 billion in revenue, and 3.6 billion was spent on on the student aid, like tuition and stuff like that. 3.7 billion was on coaches compensation. That's
Wow.
it. Out of the 18.8 billion. So just to put that in perspective.
Wow.
So when
That
you say give back to the community, cool, what do you mean by that as far as uh, sending the top tier athletes to HBCUs?
Yeah, so currently I think one of the biggest issues that HBCUs in general face is funding, right?
Mhm.
And so there's a debate about the relevancy of HBCUs and all, I guess, minority serving institutions. And so that's a kind of term that includes like Hispanic schools and other kind of minority serving institutions. But the theory is that if a Zion Williamson or if a LeBron James came to a North Carolina Central University, those millions of dollars would be funneled into a school in a community that looks like ours, right? And so a lot of people are proponents of trying to get these top athletes, these 5-star athletes, to come to HBCUs. But I think a lot of athletes don't know if they can make it to the league. And that's a variety of things, from coaching to facilities to a number of other factors.
I got some fun facts. So 2.4% of the total undergraduate population is Black men. So out of that 2.4%, 55% is pretty much Black men are football players and basketball players. So on all of those teams, and this is Power 5 schools. So like an athletic department like Alabama University, they made over 174 million last year. And then like the highest gross HBCU was how you say it, Prairie View. Have y'all heard that school before?
Prairie View, yeah.
They made
Yeah.
only 18 million. So 174 million compared to 18 million. That's a big difference in money. So I mean that's just how much money HBCUs are making compared to PWIs.
But it's hard. I don't know, like, cool, to your point, it's like it's hard to put all that on like certain stars coming out of high school, just black stars, because if you think about the money that's coming from that these colleges are making a revenue, a lot of it, like even the athletes, like if you talk about all athletics, we're not just talking about basketball, but all the money that each university makes from athletics, when you talk about the ethnic background, pretty much from the top down, like from athletic director all the way down to the coaching staff, training staff, everybody, the percentages on mostly all those schools are at least over 60-70% white people.
Mhm. Let's get into it. So here's how I feel about it. Um, you have these 5-star athletes, and like they say that Bronny is got an offer from Central. So Bronny was to come to Central. The amount of revenue that would come back into the school would be, a highly substantial amount compared to what is right now. I feel like PWIs are hawking top tier athletic talent, but do not take top tier, minorities in terms of education. Like there is a disparity. There's like stuff like affirmative action that kicks in and all that, but I'm a little upset about it. They're taking these players and they're putting them on their teams because they know they're going to bring in money. They know they're going to bring in money. If it wasn't for their talent, would they take them? Would they take somebody who comes from an impoverished area and has a spotty background if they didn't shoot a ball well? I don't think so. I feel like a lot of these Black players need to go back to these HBCUs, build these HBCUs back up. I mean, just like you said, so much money is put into the athletic departments. Like, I don't even know how much money Central is making right now through their athletic program. But imagine if somebody like Bronny got onto the team. And I don't think it's going to affect whether or not he gets into the league or not. Because if you're a good player and y'all are getting wins, it doesn't matter. People are going to look at you. They'll be like, oh, that guy's a star. And it's Bronny. People are going to look at him anyways. Look who his dad is. I feel like it's going to bring the spotlight back to the HBCUs. People are going to look at it more. I mean, I feel like in the past couple of years, Central has gotten more of a spotlight. I mean, there's things like the Bright Building, which has received grants, millions of dollars, but nothing, is equivalent to the amount of money that can be brought by the athletic department.
And just to be clear, I don't want it to seem like PWIs take complete advantage of athletics and HBCUs don't, right? So if we look at Lavelle Moulton, he makes more than the chancellor at Central. So I think it's something depending on the success of your program. Athletics do generate a lot of money wherever you go. I think it just depends on how that money trickles back down. And I don't know if you guys know a lot about this, but it just came to my mind. Just the whole concept of, do you guys remember the story about like the Fab Five?
Yes.
And just like the issues of like, these schools are making millions off of the likeness of these players. And some of them, their families can't even afford to keep the lights on. Right. And so selling jerseys that represent the numbers that these guys are wearing, is that something that's reasonable if the players aren't getting compensation?
So I think the NCAA been, like you said, been making money off these kids for forever. I think like players getting paid for their likeness, like they made it a norm for it to be a violation. But I think getting paid for your likeness shouldn't be an issue. Like this should never been a rule in general. I don't have a problem with people getting paid for their likeness. How you guys feel about that?
That's another thing I wanted to talk about. I also feel like players getting paid, it doesn't bother me at all. I feel like they should get paid. Like they play hard, they're talented, they deserve it, and they're capitalizing off of their game and their energy they bring. So I feel like they should get paid too. And I feel like a lot of them are getting paid. Like, for instance, let's use Brandon Ingram. Bring him up again.
G5
He been a Tar Heels fan all his life. Family, Tar Heels fans, all their lives. Why in the world would he go to Duke?
That were different circumstances. That was when we was North Carolina was under investigation.
What was his favorite color? What was his favorite color, Larry?
Purple. Anyway.
But that was different circumstances. But like
I know I understand the circumstances, but despite those circumstances, like if he really was a Tar Heels fan, like Duke, out of all places, he could have went anywhere else. Anywhere. He was gonna make the league anyway. Everybody knew his game. He was gonna make it. Like, so that's another thing. Like, I feel like these PWIs are like they're probably giving them handouts under the table, or who knows. I mean, I don't have anything solid, No one really does. I mean, I feel like they would rather go to those schools because they feel like they are going to get something other than probably a. I wouldn't even say they're getting a way better shot at getting in the league, but more or less maybe. But I feel like they're getting more than what they're going to get if they join a HBCU team.
I think it's the publicity though. Like they want to be seen on TV on a regular basis. Like you go to Carolina or Duke, you know you're going to be on TV once a week, hands down. So if they go to North Carolina Central, what's the chance of you being seen? Like John Morant, Mary State is HBCU, correct? If I'm not mistaken. I think Mary State is HBCU.
I'm not even sure.
He wasn't seen until like the NCAA tournament.
Exactly. So
Yeah, even though you're still gonna make it to the league, but I think these high school kids aren't really thinking about that. Like we can say that now because we're older, but coming out of high school, you just want to be on TV. You know what I'm saying? You want to be seen. You want your talent to be seen.
But
So
I feel like we got off topic though. Like what that's like from the player's perspective. Like, do you think that the school should pay them though? Like, cause all right. So what you think about the argument they always like to bring up as far as like even that stat I just brought up, paying both it was about 3.6 billion dollars each for for student aid and for coaching staff. So would you say that's fair to be like, well, we're paying the coaching staff and the students tuition, which I mean at some PWIs is what, cool, like an upwards of 60 grand maybe, like them paying that. Do you feel like that should be enough if that's what they giving the coaching staff to? Obviously not the head coach, but everybody else down the line.
I wouldn't put a number on it though. It's hard to put a number on how much you're gonna give somebody. Because say for instance, somebody like Zion at Duke, Zion Williamson, you're gonna cap him out at 60,000 when he's probably selling mad jerseys. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's coming to see him. They had Barack Obama go to his game. Like I don't know if you want to put a cap on it, or can he make money outside of just that?
I'm just saying the cap has been whatever your tuition is paid for. That's
yeah. So I thought you were saying as far as like a cap was going to be like that 6,000 was going to be how much they make while they're at Duke, like after tuition is paid.
No, I'm just saying. So you think they should get paid on top of that? Obviously, they're making way more than what their tuition costs, but I mean, you know, is what they're paying the coaching staff not equivalent somewhat. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, so I mean, so you pretty much so for instance, like you think NBA, like NBA players are getting paid more than coaches. So I mean, I would think that you would pay your big time players in college more money than a coach. I mean, maybe not as much as a head coach, but it's more than an assistant.
Yeah,
because the gap is significant though. You said Coach K got what, 11 million, another million.
That's what I was gonna say. Like Coach K is somebody different though, because it's like the school can argue that Coach K is valuable because he has fans and he's still gonna bring in those season ticket holders next year, regardless of what his players are doing, which is kind of showing this season what's been going on.
Yeah, but he has a longevity. He's been coaching for 45 years. So I mean, I do agree with that.
But I mean, if he didn't have players who were winning, he wouldn't be in the conversation. He's not on the court getting those buckets. He's just, hey, do this, do that. He's not the one. He's not jumping, 30-inch vert, bro.
He gets some like top tier players too.
So to kind of play devil's advocate, right? So we kind of talk about the discrepancy between HBCUs and PWIs. And so there's a school of thought that if you were to pay players for their likeness, the HBCUs could never pay players what these big schools could, and that would only further the gap. That's right. Facts. And so would that disparity grow so large that it would give a HBCU no chance of recruiting a player? Because if you're only covering tuition and fees, everybody has a better chance, right? And so if a student decides I want the Howard experience versus the Duke experience, if there's no money involved, there's a chance that I could go to Howard.
That makes sense, but I feel like if these top prospects take the route of going to HBCU, they would bring the money in. I mean, is that the wrong way of thinking
Regardless.
about it?
Also, if that's the case, they would have been going to HBCUs. They hadn't. Like there was no money to be had, but they were still going to the PWIs.
It's only gonna take one. Like
I don't
if
understand
one
that.
top prospect to go to HBCU, then I feel like the rest will follow.
So
What
what
you-
Nick is saying is that they're not getting paid for their likeness right now, so there's no excuse for them not to be going to HBCUs right now because they're not getting paid for likeness.
Well, I think they are getting paid now, correct?
It's starting
I think
this
it's
year or next year, I
but-
think.
Okay, but yeah, like you're saying, oh, go
like
ahead.
we said earlier, who said Trey said it? Like they're getting more views, that they're getting seen. So that's the compensation that's the variable everybody was looking for.
So cool. What you're saying is that if they do pay, then there's going to be even more incentive to go to the PWIs.
Exactly. So you're putting the HBCUs at an impossible disadvantage to recruit, right? So if you say I can afford to pay you 100,000, but Central can only to pay you 40, how would Central ever recruit top talent? And so it'll almost introduce a barrier that is not just choosing a school. Now it's a money game, and then HBCUs can't compete.
Yeah, that was one issue the NCAA mentioned. That's why they were mad when I think California was the first state to choose to pay players for their likeness. So that is a big issue as far as like discrepancy and who can pay the most money. I don't know how to fix that situation.
But I mean, I feel like it might be able to be worked out. I don't know if like the money gap would be too low, like you said, for HBCUs, but that's the same problem that a lot of the American professional leagues had when it came to like signing free agents and stuff. Cause like in soccer, there's no salary cap. So that's not stopping, the billionaires from just throwing a bag at somebody and they like, I'll go play, which is why there's salary caps in the NBA and NFL. You know what I'm saying? So maybe if college put like a salary cap on all the schools,
Facts.
then they can still get paid, but it's like you can't go over a certain amount.
That's real. That would make it fair. I mean, then you're just going to be stacking these teams, and everyone's going to be at a disadvantage.
Because I mean, they still, so with them getting paid for their likeness, they still have the opportunity of getting paid outside of the college. Like, say for instance,
Probably not. Probably more not now though. If they
I
give
thought
money, they definitely don't want them
you
like
don't think so?
taking anything. No.
I thought
I
they
know
would. So
before-
so I haven't looked too far into it, but I thought like, say for instance, Mikey Williams that everybody talks about in high school right now. If
Isn't he
went to
talking
Central,
about going to HBCU?
yeah, he's if he goes to Central, say for instance, it's a Honda dealership that's down the street.
No, bro.
He couldn't go there and drive their car and make money.
Bro,
You
he
don't
would
own
get
your likeness.
he would get in trouble for getting a plate at Chicken Hut if the NCAA found out.
All right, so what is what is the NCAA passing with
Apple
them getting paid
pies.
for their likeness? Is it just them giving money to the student?
Yeah, I mean, feeling what they're finally owed, like they're saying they need to get paid. Because before even now, like when they can't get paid, the rules are strict about what you can accept, and even before, like that's one of the reasons. I mean, everybody knew LeBron was going to the NBA, but when he was considering college, because his mom had took out that loan to buy that Hummer, they were like, "Yo, where'd you get that money from?" You know what I'm saying? Even though it was proven that she took out the loan and it wasn't from a school, but them thinking that it was from a school, like that jeopardizes, the rules and you being able to go to a school.
But I'm talking about more so the new what's new, like what's coming. So they still wouldn't
That's
be able
what
to
I'm
do that.
saying. That's what I'm saying. What's coming now? If the NCAA is giving you money, oh, you better not take anything now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Before it's like of course we feel like it's unfair, but that's still to keep the integrity of recruiting. So they like don't take anything from schools. But now if the schools are actually paying you to, yeah, no, you better not take anything.
So all right, so
I
maybe
can
I'm
agree with that.
so maybe I'm dumbfounded then. So can you pay for your likeness? All right, so
Somebody say he dumbfounded. Go
no,
ahead.
listen
I'm ready
to me
hear
now.
this.
So
Listen to me now.
I'm gonna go back to Zion Williamson. So if Zion, I don't know who his teammate was. He had Cam Burgess on his team.
And
So Zion
RJ Barrett.
Williamson, yeah, he had them on his team. So he brought in all his revenue. So we're talking about putting a cap on how much money you can make. Are you really getting paid for your likeness then? Because his likeness is higher than Cam or RJ Barrett.
Right.
I read somewhere
that would only be that would just to keep it fair. Like the rules would be you're getting paid for your likeness, but everybody knows Zion is the reason that Duke is making more money than Cam or RJ. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I read somewhere that they said that Zion would have made about $5 million during his time.
I'm learning more right now talking to you guys. I really thought, like, say for instance, Zion sold so and so jerseys on Duke campus, he would make 25% of that money. I didn't think it would be like a cap. So
I feel like it's just dangerous, Dominique, when you get into a point of like giving that a player that much power. Like it's known that he's the reason, but you can't be like, we're gonna pay him more for his likeness. You know, that one will cause friction between the teammates. And then two, it'll give him power, give his family power that's unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's all the reason that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I mean, he can ask for like every night someone need to come in and rub his feet, and Duke would be like, yeah. Like it just gives you too much power. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
As a student.
That's all the reason not to pay them though. That's what I was about to talk about when y'all was done. Like, who's to say who gets what? And if they make it even across the board, like if I'm Zion, I'm like, yo, I'm putting in all the work. I'm getting more numbers and more publicity and doing more than everybody. Why am I getting paid the same as them? Yeah. And then they do give them more pay. And then here come the other guys like, why is he getting paid so much? You know, it's just a whole bunch of different controversy. And I feel like it's better off that no one gets paid.
Let's put this in perspective, though. Duke, a 3-year average of their revenue was $35.4 million. They had a profit of 14.6. 14.6. That's an average. So we don't know how much they made individually each year. That's $14.6 million that's going back into their pockets. So, you know, you have this team, it wouldn't be anything to just take out and break it up amongst the players.
So
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm gonna play devil's advocate again, because the concept of paying people for their likeness is not unheard of, right? So when I was in undergrad, I got paid to work in the lab. I was a science student. I had a talent. I went in the lab. I produced research. Trey knows. Shout out to LSM. We were getting paid, right? So I remember, like, I could be in the lab getting paid $20 an hour. You might be in the library getting paid $20 an hour to sit at the desk, and there's somebody getting paid $20 an hour to tutor. But these guys have to dedicate all their time and they don't get compensated at all.
That's true.
And so it's kind of an interesting dynamic that some people on campus get paid for their time and others don't. And it's kind of, is the tuition enough? I mean, at a lot of these D1 schools, most of these players don't go to class in the spring. You get through the fall, barely make it. You go to March Madness and you go to the draft. They don't even go to class in the spring. So is the tuition a benefit, or is it just the legality of paperwork that they got to fill out so the guys can play?
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah. I feel like it'll just teach like those kind of lessons early too. Cause at the same time, I feel like those problems that Larry was talking about, that's different when, like, even in the NBA, they go through that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you Joe Harris, you realize the team, we gonna give you 12 million for 2 years. You can't just look at LeBron and be like, why are you getting 40 million a year? You know what I'm saying? But in college, kind of to put everybody, even though it's likeness and you're bringing in that money, to keep everybody like on that same playing field. And because it's a choice too at the same time. Like I guess they'll just have to work out like the contracts, but you're agreeing to come to this school and it's for this reason. You know what I'm saying? Because you have a choice. You don't have to come if you don't want to. You know what I'm saying? And I guess that makes it like full circle, like what school you choose. Like maybe if you can only get paid $60,000, but a HBCU can pay you the same thing, then
So and that brings up another question. Should 1 year professional or 1 year of college even be required for these athletes? Right. And so their job, their potential career is to be an athlete. What does college have to do with that? Right. What is this year? Is this just a year of taking money and making money off their talents? Like, what are your guys' general thoughts on? Because I know was that the last year you could go straight to the league?
nah, 2004, the White
Yeah.
and them, yeah.
So what are your general thoughts on players being able to go straight to the league, whether that's the NFL, the NBA, because a lot of these kids don't want to go to college and they're only going because they don't want to go overseas.
Yeah, but who's to say that these? I mean, just because you're a 5-star athlete doesn't mean that you're going straight to the league after your first year. You don't know. So I would think they should stay for a full year. I mean, that's just my opinion on it.
But what you mean? That's you saying like you stay to kind of test themselves at the college level of basketball? If we're talking about basketball specifically. Like, what do you mean that we don't know if they can even go to the NBA, so they need to go to college? Is it to test the waters, like to test their skill set, or what?
So the way I perceive the question was, he's saying that, like, should these kids go to college for a year if they know they're going to the league? Sorry, is that what you're saying, Cool?
No, I'm saying if their desire is to get to the league, should they have to go to college?
Oh,
right?
so they still go straight back to the league if they can?
Yeah, like should
should that
be
be a
able
rule?
to go? Yeah.
Oh, this shouldn't be a rule. It should never be a rule. No.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think the league is going back to allowing these kids to go straight to the league, or they have the G League. So I think they're doing away with that.
I feel like, if anything, they go to the G League if you're coming straight out of high school, I guess. I don't know. Unless you're just that phenomenal of a player. I feel like it's politics. I feel like maybe it's like, hey, you go to the school, like, and we want to bring in some revenue too before they go off to the big show. And maybe the NBA is like, let's see how they do on a higher level than high school, before we actually want to pick them up.
And I feel like even maybe like they work together somewhat, because think about like NBA's revenue. If you watch a whole season of basketball and you're excited, like kind of all the hype behind Zion Williamson, there's no hype for a number 1 pick or draft night if you haven't somewhat seen these kids playing in college. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's what incites them to come to having to play in college before entering. I feel like that's the only reason the NBA agreed to that, because I don't think it should be a rule. You know what I'm saying? If you good enough to go, you should try out.
Them people better get on Hoop Mixtape, Ballers Life, Home Court. They better, them kids be out there hooping. They don't need no college.
But it's just the average person, I think, doesn't look at all that. They just, they watch the games. Most people, they know who Zion Williamson is because they hear it every day. It was every day when he was in college. And I think it's got a lot to do with them working together. College is that first big stage, I guess. It's where you generate your buzz. Unlike people like LeBron, who was just a freak of nature, everybody didn't have that luxury.
Or Kobe.
Or Brandon Ingram.
So
Kobe daddy played ball.
So for these guys that are going into college, do you guys think there should be any mandatory classes on finances and money, just in general, since they are potentially projected to make a lot of money? We know there's a lot of athletes who have went to the league and are now broke. And so if college is a necessary part of their professional growth, should there be classes that prepare them for life as a professional?
No,
Yeah.
I'll let you go, Nick, but no,
I feel like
absolutely
all
not.
students should take those type of courses, not just people going off to the league. I think everybody should take some type of course of curriculum that teaches you how to manage your money, maybe how to invest, different opportunities in order to accumulate wealth in the long run. I don't
But
know why that
what if
isn't
it was
taught.
only for the to go to the court to answer the question, or if it was for athletes, should it be mandatory for athletes?
Yes. I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
what.
I mean, if you're going to make them take language arts, why not make them take a finance class?
Because you don't make any other students take a finance class.
I don't see what's the problem. I see, all right, yeah, they don't make any other student go to 3 a.m. workouts and stuff either. I mean, it's a part of the thing. They're doing this to get to the next level, to get to the next stage.
But it's only to
The
teach
next
them how
level,
to.
the next level, next stage is gonna, if they do make it to there, it's gonna have a large amount of money. You don't
But
want to see them
nobody,
just.
but nobody made Cool go to finance class, even though he's eventually he's making six figures. Like if it's just about money, why do they need to take a finance class if nobody else has to?
Well, like I said, I feel like everybody should have to take it.
You should. I'm
You're
saying you
looking at it from
should,
an
but
you're looking at it from an athletic standpoint.
no, I'm
Yeah,
looking at it from like the mandatory standpoint. Do I think it's smart? Yes, but you shouldn't. It shouldn't be mandatory.
I feel like it should be mandatory, especially for
How?
college.
Yeah.
Not just basketball players, but all college athletes.
So, but who's to say that these specific players are going to make it big and make millions? Like I'm with Trey. Like
They
you
might
shouldn't make
not.
it mandatory.
Okay,
Like-
look at high school. When they prepare you for college, who said you're going to college? You know what I'm saying? More than likely, especially when it comes to basketball and football.
But you just said high school though. Like
I
you
know,
said,
I'm
all
sorry.
the students.
Because he said, who's to say they're going to make it big?
Yeah, but
That's what they was referring to.
But the question is kind of like grouping this one, like specifically these basketball athletes who are gonna make a lot of money, and that's the only reason why.
Okay, we can
it'll
keep
be
it towards
fair
the
if it was.
question.
Yeah,
We
if
can
it was
keep it
all
towards the
college
question
students,
then.
yeah.
We
But the
keep it towards the
question-
question. So basketball, right? You got the NBA. I just watched a documentary not too long ago, and one of the people who are big in the NBA, Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq, Big Shaq,
Mhm.
everybody know him.
Blew it.
He was
Mhm.
talking about how he almost like pretty much lost all his money,
Mhm.
buying everybody's stuff, being careless with his money. He didn't have any guidance at all. And they say the number one reason why a lot of NBA players, especially young ones, very young ones, rookies, go broke is because they gamble. Like that's how careless they are with their money. The more money they have, the more they're gonna gamble away. The more they're gonna
Mhm.
they're gonna buy try to live outside their means, even though their means got way larger than it was previously. But they're still gonna find some way to live outside their means. If they would have been taught how to manage their money, like if it was a mandatory in college, everyone would have been all right. Because it's people today that we don't even know about who are going through like a big financial crisis.
That's a good point. That's literally the
So-
point I was about to bring up. Like you talk about Shaq, but it's Sue at the pharmacist who didn't manage her money either.
Okay.
But I will
That's-
say this though.
Can I say one thing?
think-
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So, all right, so I understand that. My thing is, I know like the NFL and the NBA, since we talk about professional sports, I know that when these guys come in, like rookies, they are getting financial courses from the NBA and the NFL. So I guess that's where my opinion stems from. Because I know in interviews with other, like by athletes, they would talk about how they have classes for these rookies coming in, so they don't go through that. So
But I
just
mean,
like-
most of them spend their money before they get there, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, before they even get to the course. The moment they get that check, they blow it. And the argument was for what D1 schools, right? So there's a
Well,
large
not
chance.
necessarily,
No,
but
just basketball. Just
Just
basketball.
just sports, athletes in
Oh,
general.
okay. I think it should just be mandatory. Why
And
not?
then you
Well,
said
It's gonna hurt.
you said Sue Sue don't take financial courses. Sue not making as much money as NBA rookies making being a pharmacist like that rapidly, that fast.
No.
They making money, but like their money,
But that's their problem. Like you should have, like, some people don't know, but you should have other people in your ear. I don't think you should make that course mandatory if you're not making it for everybody else. If you're not
Yeah, that's
making it
part-
mandatory for everybody.
Well,
it's
I
probably
also-
only like 2% of the athletes in college, or 1% actually going to professional leagues. And so we're gonna make everybody take a course
But-
when it's only like 1% going to the league.
Yeah.
So I'm an advocate for making people take it. I don't care if you didn't need it, because I think because if we think about how these coaches in these schools are hand plucking the most talented and gifted kids out of our communities, exploiting them and not giving them the tools to be successful,
right?
That's kind of a slap in the face, because where you got them from, they didn't have the tool. Like,
come on now,
you didn't get them from the suburbs, right? And so and maybe not mandatory courses, but there should be a big effort to give them tools because of where you got them from, right? They don't have the financial literacy. They don't have that knowledge. These aren't the brightest kids in the world. We know the kids, like we talked about the UNC investigation. These kids ain't doing their homework. These kids ain't going to class. You really bring them there just to make money. So why not provide those resources for them? And so that's my only. I get the argument.
It's not why not provide it. It's why make it mandatory.
Specific for athletes.
I agree with you. All that needs to be done. All these players need role models. They need mentors. But that's when you talk about from the top. When you talk about like these white coaches, athletic directors, all the way down, plucking these black kids out of the hood,
out of nothing.
You want them because they play basketball. Not, you don't care how they spend their money once they leave.
But you should.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you should care, and you should put that investment in them, right?
Right.
So that's kind of how I feel about it. Like, you should care where they end
like
up.
The ethical thing
and
to do.
And if we don't demand that, we're selling ourselves short, right? If we're letting people out of our communities get pulled, put money into other communities, and then go broke trying to make it, I think we're selling ourselves short as a community.
So are we selling ourselves short?
You an advocate for all students, though, right? Cool. All black students should take finance courses.
I think finance courses should be in high school.
Yeah.
In general, but I think if we're talking about pay, like we talked about paying players, if I'm going to pay you, I have every right to require you to take this class, because now you're more than a student. If we're talking about getting paid for your likeness and all this and that, I don't think it's unreasonable to require you to take classes in finance. But I think it benefits the university as well, because the better you manage your finances, the more you can even give back to the university, right? As an alum or somebody who left. So I think not making them do it is a cop-out, right? It's like, it's showing you, like, I don't care what you do with your money. I got what I needed, and there's another black kid right behind
you. Brought me these millions, and I'm satisfied.
You got to think, like,
shut up and dribble.
Most talented athletes, they come from nothing. Majority of the most talented, like raw talent, no skill, just all talent. They get to college and they play sports and they get groomed into being better. But the most talented, they come from nothing. And like, what in the world is someone who came from the slum gonna do as soon as they touch $100,000, $500,000, $1 million? That money's gone in an instant. They feel like it's a lot. Everybody think it's a lot, but it's not a lot once you get it. It goes so fast, it's ridiculous, because people have different taste. When you don't have anything, your taste is, when you're poor, your taste is poor taste. When you have more money, your taste becomes more elegant. You start wanting all the high fashion. You start wanting more. That's how it's gonna go for them kids.
But to play devil's advocate, I feel like where, again, we do have a responsibility, and you should care, but this particular group, if, like, I could agree with Cool, like, if you saying starting from high school, all kids should know financial literacy, but to say that now, like, it's almost like we're coddling millionaires. Like, I'm not, like, maybe I'm an ass, but like, I don't feel bad if a millionaire loses $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Just because you used to eat bologna sandwiches, and now, like, because you got 100,000, like you said, you want off-white shoes, you want Balenciaga, you want this. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like that's exploitation, though. Like, I feel like, like, They don't know. I
They
think
owe
first
them
there's a
because they made
mature
them so much money. That's what you
right.
saying?
I feel like part of it is there's a maturation process. So we're not
Mhm.
Mhm.
talking about people who are 30, 40.
Right. We
We're
talking about
talking
high
Talking
school
about
about
kids.
kids who
teenagers.
are 17,
Right.
right? So I think I don't know the
It's
answer,
almost
but
like setting them up for failure.
kind of sorta.
But
yeah.
I mean,
So,
In
this is for
between
all
one.
kids too, though. Like I'm
oh,
just
okay. How about this then? How about you have to opt out, but you are automatically enrolled in the courses? And so
I
you
would agree with
chose
that.
not to take it, but you're automatically enrolled in it when you get there.
that'll be fun.
Yeah. So it's your choice.
It's just
Like
I feel like I
I
don't
feel
know.
like if you go ahead.
Y'all that went hard, like it's for someone losing, not knowing how to manage, and then maybe I would love that problem that it's harder to manage $1 million rather than $100,000 a year. But like, and like all those other students in that school, y'all just like it's all right. Them not knowing how to manage their money is fine, but we need to make sure this millionaire knows how to
Yeah,
manage.
No,
that's
no,
that's the
no.
issue.
no, that's
And he's
fair.
We
not a
made
No,
the
millionaire
question.
they're,
We
though.
they're
made the
not the
question about
same.
basketball. We didn't make it about everybody else. We made
Yeah.
it about a
Mhm.
basketball athlete. That's
Yeah.
the whole
All
thing.
students aren't created equal. Let's not joke. Let's not play.
No,
Zion is not equal to Daryl Lewis, the science
But
major. All
that's like cry,
students aren't equal.
but that's like cry me a river though. Like
true.
it,
No, I see why you said
I
that.
don't feel
I see
bad
why you said
if
that.
you got $30 million in your bank account, and you blow it. 18 or not, you know what I'm saying? You have a mom, you might not have a mom, but you have people that you run into. You should have a circle at that point. And like you said, even if it was this one class, that's just one resource. And I mean, I just don't personally feel bad.
I
My
mean,
bottom
like, all
line
But
right,
I
so
get
on
what
like,
y'all
this, my
saying.
bottom line on this, and I'm gonna shut up afterwards. If you are an athlete and you get a full ride,
Mhm.
meaning they see a lot of potential, you're gonna make it somewhere. It's a high probability. If you get a full ride, mandatory finance classes.
Yeah, I feel what Cool was saying as far as like like exploitation. You know what I'm saying? Like they should care if they're paying, like if they're making that much money from those students, they should care in the long term. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you what, man.
You about to say something, Domo?
no, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. So before we wrap it up, um, just in general, I did want to hit outside of players. So there's definitely discrepancies that we see across the leagues when it comes to coaching in general. Do you guys feel that black coaches in general are they given the same opportunities as white coaches within college and within the NBA as well?
Bro, let me give you these
Go ahead,
stats right now,
please.
bro. This is from 2012 to 2019.
Let's go.
This let's start with all, right? If we look at all divisions, all schools from 2012 to 2019, it hasn't jumped 88%. It hasn't gone under 88% of white coaches. 88% of all coaches in the NCAA are white. All right. And we go down, when we talk about like HBCUs and stuff, let's go down to like even division 3. You know what I'm saying? Division 3, and this has been it's been the same number since 2012 to 2019. 91% of Division 3 college coaches are white. 91%.
Do
What's
you,
the
do you do you
percentage of the
think that's
players
reflective of the
being black?
players? Yeah.
So
The,
like, I
the
can,
go
okay,
ahead.
I can tell you like NBA or like NBA and NFL, like NBA wise, 81% of the league is black, but there's only
It's only
eight.
four
It's only eight black coaches in the league right now.
and four head coaches, right? Or is it eight head
It's eight.
coaches?
It's eight black coaches in the league right now. But
Okay.
NFL, there's only two black coaches, and it was just 10 vacancies. I think over the last season it was 10 vacancies only, and no black coach got a offer. So it's pretty sad how these numbers look.
And y'all was asking about the student population. It was about like six. Well, as far as the student athletes, it's about 16. It's been floating around like 16% that the black athletes for all those years since 2012.
So I know it was a big talk in the NFL about I don't know the terminology, but it was kind of like affirmative action for coaches to
The
guarantee.
Rooney Rule.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that? And if you could explain it a little bit
All right, so
in
the
case
Rooney
our
Rule
listeners
is
don't know.
the Rooney Rule is pretty much they're trying to force owners to interview black coaches. It's like they're giving them incentives to interview black coaches. So they'll give them like a say for instance, I interview Cool, they'll give me like a fifth round pick, like an extra pick or something like that.
Mm.
So they're trying to do that, but this year it didn't even work. Like nobody even hired or interviewed black coaches. They just trying to get these guys in the room to get interviewed. It's not even them getting the job. But that's pretty much what it is. How do y'all feel about the Rooneyville rule?
They trying to just give them a chance to like be heard, bring what they can offer besides their resume, what they can offer as a head coach. That's pretty much the whole concept of the Rooney Rule. But because they're giving it to these white guys, they don't get interviewed. They just be like, hey, I want you. Like they just pick him out. Like he's going to be the coach. Like they come picking coaches who don't have a large resume or anything like that. They're
So,
just giving them a job, and a lot of these black coaches have like way more accolades and put in way more time and work than the coaches who are there hiring.
so I have a better question towards this. So do you guys feel like these white owners are hiring white coaches all the time because they pretty much are hiring people they relate to, or are they purposely not hiring black coaches due to just racism? How do y'all feel about that?
Feel like I feel like it's both. I
Yeah,
feel like
even
they're doing it for racism and they can't really relate to them.
I feel like even like the Rooney Rule sounds like it's just for optics. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like it's literally just so you can like if anybody tries to be like, you know, that you're not even giving them a chance. They like we interviewed him. Like he in the room that should cover us for whatever, you know, for whatever. And as far as like the white owners, I don't know, like in like the NFL, I know a lot of it comes from like your previous work. Like I know and like who you know almost like if you were like an old coordinator for somebody, they like I know him. Like there's no like I like the way his mind works and that's it. Which it just sucks that it's not a lot of representation to start with from the coaching staff, like not even the head coach, you know what I'm saying? Like not getting these little opportunities. And in the NBA, yeah, it's just, I mean, I guess, I don't know, like who you know, it's a lot of generational stuff. Like it was his son right here, he can coach and, you know, it's, and then it's almost like in the NBA, and I don't know, I guess it's because it's just a small like sample size, but it's almost like whenever there's a vacancy, isn't it like almost the same names always get thrown around though?
All the
Like when you
time.
talk about like who you interviewing, it's just like four, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like I feel like the NBA is almost like you have to be coaching for a really long time to even, you know, get your name out there. And then if you get like a first time job, you're somebody's son, like your boy Silas from the Rockets or Saunders' son at the
Timberwolves.
Timberwolves. Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely a club by the look of it.
So do you guys think Mark Jackson was robbed the
Yeah, I
Golden
feel
State
like I
Warriors?
heard he
Most
was
definitely.
blackballed. Yeah.
Most
Mm,
definitely.
I feel like his name is purposely being left out of conversations because of they were
unintended.
saying because of like his religious beliefs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like
these
not only
niggas.
is the black coach, but he loves to like talk about praying
Yeah.
and church on Sunday. Like he's gonna stay true to himself and I guess owners and stuff don't like the optics of that just
When
because
has that
you
ever
know
been an issue?
yeah, and it's just weird. And I guess I don't know if it's like a reverse of they're trying to make sure that the organization and
It's
everything
inclusive.
stay yeah inclusive and stays diverse as possible. Like there's no strict religion here, but it's like if
But
Mark
as
Jackson
I
gonna be
mean,
praying with his players, it's like I mean you don't have to join the prayer, but like what's wrong with him praying if it's some of the other players that believe the same thing he
I
does?
feel like that's a cop out. I just do. I feel like that's a cop out. Like somebody pursuing their religious belief. I mean, I don't think there's ever been an issue before. I've never heard that, at least not in sports. Like
I mean,
they
is
sing the national anthem.
Mhm. There's so many sports teams that pray before they play a game, like black
Yeah,
or white. It don't even matter.
I think it was a guy named Chris Jenkins. I think he changed his name to Mahmoud Raoul. I mean, he got blackballed out of the league in like the '90s. So they've been doing this for a while. Man, it's nothing new.
Yeah, and Nick, you talking about like the cop out, but yeah, these is the same, like it's the same people that like will be mad if you kneel during the national anthem too. So it's like I don't know, super conservative, I guess.
So do you,
Yeah.
y'all want to talk about Coach Moten? Do y'all want to get into that?
So
Yeah, we
Where we
can.
at right now? Cool.
I mean, we
Yeah,
we
so
moving
that's
around,
the we
man.
skipped over that, but that's the last thing that we
I was
kind of
about to
didn't hit
say
on.
we good on time.
We
What's
actually got two things we could talk
Oh.
about, but yeah, we can get
Oh, and I
into
made a
stuff.
mistake.
Yeah.
I said the national anthem. I meant "God Bless America" is what they saying. So
Yeah, because we ain't
And I
talking
think we're like
about
an hour and 10 minutes in, I think.
yeah, 'cause
I'm
we ain't
good.
talk about the Howard situation with that the player, the 5-star player.
we could do a part 2.
Look, Dominique, cool. Dominique got his book. He like, yo, we need to talk
No,
about
because I'm
this
following
stuff.
my stuff, man. Hey, man.
Yeah.
But let's just talk about Coach Moten, man. Do y'all think he should stay at Central or go to a PWI or NBA or take an NBA job? What y'all think about that?
I mean, if not
That's
Central,
strange. Are y'all informed on like the everything that happened, like the situation with State
nope.
and
With
him?
State?
Yeah, when like possibly I know NC State when they was looking for a coach before they hired the coach that was at UNCW, I believe, at UNC Wilmington, which he's black too, you know what I'm saying? But that's
Okay.
what I heard they were interested in Coach Moat when they were looking for the vacancy. But I don't know like what went into his thinking or what happened, or like what if that's when Central offered him like a pretty big contract or what.
See, my thing is I can't tell somebody what to do. Like maybe his dream was to get to the NBA one day as a coach. So I mean I can't be mad if he leaves a HBCU to pursue his dreams. I mean that's just my opinion. I don't think it's a bad thing.
I don't think so neither. I feel like if you can be more impactful in college or whatever that is, even high school, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of NBA coaches that, you know, not it's not a bad thing that's like you're like it's coming at your coaching skills and saying you're a bad coach, but you'll see like a lot of NBA coaches kind of like funnel out or just blend in, if that makes sense. Like you just kind of blend in with the crowd, whereas like you'll make you'll make your stand in college, which I kind of feel like he would have been and I know we talking about Coach Mo, but to go into Coach K from Duke, coaching the USA squad and stuff, like he would be a good NBA coach, but I feel like he, knew that his legacy is at Duke and that's where he wanted to stay. So I don't, if that's like Dominique said, if that's something he wanted to do, then do it. Like that was his dream to be in the NBA, but like you can make a name for yourself, which he already has, like, and be a legend at Central. And you don't really have to go anywhere. Like you well known in the MEAC already. Like everybody know you can coach your tail off. So, I wouldn't leave
I
if
feel
that's
like
not something I wanted to do.
some people would. I mean, I wouldn't say this, but I feel like some people, if he went to a PWI, some people might try to say he'll sell out. Do y'all think that's far fetched? I'm not me saying that, but I feel like
see that happening.
some people would say that.
I could see that happening. They'd be like, "Oh, he just wanted to upgrade to a PWI. He went where the money was at, or something like that."
But
the
I
money
mean, I feel like
where the money resides.
I feel like he would say, in his own words, I feel like if you was really rocking with him, you'll be proud of him wherever you went.
Yeah, because I mean, people know his heart.
Because
I
people
listened to
saying
a couple
you
of his
selling out.
interviews.
The people who say like you sell out, those be just haters, bro. That just mad that they didn't get that opportunity or they not in a position. Like them people mad at if he went to State, they can't even be the water boy at Central. You know what I'm saying? So
And he went to Central too as well. He's an alum and played at Central. So I think he's gave Central more than enough in his life if he wanted. I think the only thing from my perspective is we kind of talk about the discrepancies and opportunities in the NBA. I don't know. I would hate to see him lose his impact, right? And so you go from being such impactful on this basketball program, you shift to the league and you're at the end of somebody's bench, you the 10th coach, and what kind is there a legacy in that? Can you overcome that, and is it realistic to work your way up the ranks? So that would be my only concern about him moving up, at least professionally.
Because it is, like you said, it is like an impact and like just the culture. And it'd be like the little things, like the fact that like he's still well connected, like throughout professional coaching too, like the league, and him bringing in, if Chris Paul in town, he gonna stop by, you know what I'm saying? And that's just a picture of Chris Paul on Central's campus. Like if he left, all that would go too, I feel like.
Yeah, I think he still coaches the under-19 USA team, so he has connections, like you said. It's pretty.
Maybe he should just stay,
And then before we round out, McCurr, Maker, Mikey Williams, Bronny James, would these big name players, if they went to HBCUs, would it make a difference? Would it set a trend? Does it not matter at all? What are your last thoughts on that?
So I think it would. Like I said earlier, it only take one or two, then everybody gonna follow suit.
I think like McCord Maker, he's already making that transition to Howard. I think he starts this fall. But I think it'll take 10 to 15 years. It's not gonna happen overnight. But I do think more people are gonna begin to do it. These 5-star prospects should really consider doing that, just to try to put finances into these HBCUs.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate, and I have a fear. About something like that. If you go to Central, Central has recently received more money. You can see they're building up, they're growing, they're expanding. But sometimes I wonder, will they lose, their roots? Like, what if it grows too big?
Cool. Why you look like that? Cool.
What?
Okay.
Wait, how would they
explain?
Wait, black players?
Said too big.
Because the player's still black.
I guess he's trying to say like the money going into the program. going to the school might.
Like, I have a fear that the HBCU will become too popular, and like it'll be a trendy thing to go to.
It should be.
Like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah,
I don't see how that hurts the community.
Not to black people. Like, what
are you saying? Like white people will start like more. Like,
and I have nothing against white people going to HBCU.
You can't
but what if it
black
gets
with black.
I'm not talking about black with black. I'm talking about what if it gets watered, like how they changed the NC Central and like now they stop using the seal with James E. Shepard.
That's not the same. I think that's more like gentrification. The school is trying to be diverse to attract more people that are non-black.
Right.
But I think top 5-star athletes coming would make the school more black. Like if LeBron James and Dwayne Wade was at Central games, more black people would want to go to Central. I don't think it would.
Yes, more black people, but everybody else will want to come to Central. And I feel
no, they won't.
You don't think so?
If it's too many of us, nah.
But even if we did, it's like a population thing. Like I don't feel like it's gonna. I feel like you was kind of grouping in like Central losing its roots, meaning that Central need to stay this small, janky, like hood school. You know what I'm saying?
No. I'm talking about in terms of, I guess, how people are like, all right, so
like you saying it's gonna grow out of a HBCU or something.
Like it'll be just like the way it's been, bro. Like, when I first came to Central, it felt very, very black
because it was small.
Maybe because the community. Maybe because the community.
Dangerous.
Hold on, and it felt very, very black. But now I'm seeing like when you get on the brochure and you see the banners and it's like a white person on.
But I don't think that has nothing to do with what we talking about. Like almost like as a business owner, that makes me think of like the bigger my business grows, does that make me less black owned? Like I'm still
what I'm worrying about
black.
is I hope Central don't sell out. I guess that's what I'm saying.
But I don't think that's related to this conversation, though.
What you mean? So I'm still curious though, because we were just talking about Coach
Like,
Mo.
just say
Coach Mo going to state means he's a sellout. So Nick, you were one of those people I was talking about. What do you mean sellout if Central was to sell out?
I'm just gonna leave it alone.
I get what you're saying. I get you. Like, you hear the rumors about UNC Durham. You hear the talks about enrollment across colleges in general. And so Central is campaigning to say, what can we do to fill the seats, right? Mm-hmm. Black or white, they don't care.
It's about money. Yeah. It's about money. It's about funding.
But I get that. I do agree with that point. But I don't think better black athletes, I don't think contributes to that.
No, I'm saying I'm playing better devil's advocate because I think it would be awesome if these 5-star athletes go to Central. I'm just saying in the long run, down the road, I'm hoping that it doesn't come to that type of situation where Central's just like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have Quidditch on the yard now,
So I got we can get off that. I got one example. So like, all right, so
who phone was that?
So do y'all know who Deion Sanders is? Prime time.
Yeah, man. He just got a coaching job.
All right, so he's the coach at Jackson State. I think it's the college. He brought in other NFL players to coach with him.
Terrell Owens, I think.
He got like Warren Sapp, and he got a lot of other assistants with him. And they're starting to bring in like big time athletes, like 5-star athletes, 4-star athletes. So I think like his program specifically, they're going to start bringing in like these big time athletes, and colleges are probably going to copy them that focus and probably find more NFL players or NBA players to bring them in to coach. So I think that would probably make these kids begin to go to HBCUs. Like if Penny Hardaway was the coach at Shaw University, I'm pretty sure a 5-star athlete would be cool going to that college.
Yeah. So the only downside I'll say in playing devil's advocate is there are black athletes at HBCUs now. And so if you took the black athletes from Ohio State and you put them at Central, there's a whole group of people who will never get an education, right? And so at a lot of these HBCUs, they actually graduate. And so there will be that weird dynamic that a lot of students who get scholarships now at HBCUs, if there was an influx of 5-star and 4-star players, there are a lot of people who may not get the opportunity to go to college.
I wouldn't think of it like that. I would just think it's a balance then. It would balance itself out. So like say for instance, Central gets a 5-star athlete. Ohio State might end up with a 3-star athlete this time, or a person that was at Central would go to Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? So it might balance itself out.
Somebody smacked the hell out of them.
Oh, my fault, fellas. But yeah, I think it'll balance itself out. You know what I'm saying, though?
I mean, maybe, but I mean, I don't know. Like, if
the calm, man.
You sound like a gong.
Like I didn't hear it.
Like if you think about basketball, it's only 12 slots. They probably giving 8 scholarships. If you bring 5 top recruits, it's gonna be some boys that's hurt. I guess they could go to smaller schools and it probably would shuffle out, like you're saying. But I think at first it's gonna displace a lot of people. Because I don't know necessarily that Ohio State or Kentucky would just say, well, you know what? Never mind. They probably would just keep going.
They would have to still have to find somebody else. You would have to find the next person.
Yeah.
It's only like 50. So
you feel like everything would just be more balanced?
Yeah, if that happened, they would win.
I would love to see, especially because it's almost like when you look at the Olympics and you see all these teams with these black or African players. Like, I would just love to see an HBCU with black players dominate. Like, we're dominating the sport. We're just not at black schools.
Oh, I would love to see a HBCU in the NCAA tournament win the championship. Like, when have we seen that?
The last look, y'all going back to segregation days. That's when who was it? The Glory Road. What school was that? Texas.
I don't remember.
Prairie. It was something like Prairie, Texas, or something like that when they beat Kentucky.
Yeah, I have never seen I don't think I ever seen an HBCU. I mean, I probably have, but I don't think I seen one in the Sweet 16.
Central beat State one time and what, like a
Yeah, I mean, I remember Central winning, but Sweet 16, I haven't seen the HBCU.
Yeah.
never came
It's,
back
it
to
is
play
going
this
to take.
again.
I think it's going to take, in my opinion, I think it's going to take at least in basketball. I think it's going to take at least 4 players. I don't think it can be 1 or 2. Like I think it'll take at least 4 players to like compete because like the schedules aren't as difficult, so you can't be losing games in order to get seeded. So like you need to be almost going undefeated. So
and you got to win that seeding game too. Even like because it's sad, like you'll go number 1 in the MEAC or something, and you still got to be a 15 seed.
Yeah.
But we're gonna wrap it up. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us today. I know we kind of switched the discussion up on y'all a little bit, talked about issues in the Black community. As Black men, we definitely think it's important to highlight these issues and kind of discuss them. So let us know what you think in the comments. Make sure you follow us on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere you hear podcasts. We look forward to connecting with you. So peace out until next time. Have a good one.
This podcast was brought to you by Optical Illusions Photography and Media. Let us capture your best moments in the perfect way.